Okay, guys. As you know, oh, you may not know this. I'm really big into Tokusatsu. I'm really big into Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Metal Heroes, Gyro, the whole shebang. But so I decided maybe I should try reviewing these, kind of like getting them out there. You know, getting people into it, or if they have any reservations about a show, to kind of put them to rest. So I figured, why not review the first episode of Dobutsu Sentai Zyuogher? Because I really liked it this first episode, and I really liked the things that this show's did in the first episode, or is doing in general, that really has gotten me excited again. Like I like Sentai, like I've liked the previous shows. It's like the first episodes have always, as of late, at least as far as Ninja's concerned, Ninja's first episode didn't grab me as much as this one did. Uh, so I guess a quick little summary of the little things. This is another anniversary series celebrating 40 years. It takes a little bit of concepts and ideas from shows like Gal Rangers, the most specifically like Gal Rangers. Even the suits have that very Gal Rangery look. Even around the belts has the that Gal Ranger like design, except it's silver instead of gold. But they add these little twists to it, to a tradition, to the throwback. Because it's really a throwback show. So they add a little twist to it that really make it its own and kind of make it fun. So basically, the most basics, a quick little rundown. So Red Yamato is this person. He kind of works in a forest. I don't know if this is specifically a job or this is just something he volunteered to himself. So he's like touring with people, and he has this kid that he helps, and he helps the animals there. He's very pro environment, very pro animals specifically, which also feels like a throwback to kind of to Gal Red and some of the other Sentai heroes like Charivan. They were very forest protective people and stuff like that. So you always have those characters that protected, a forest, or protected, a park or something like that. And then they had affinity. In his case, he has a very affinity to animals. Like Al Rand was a veterinarian, so that was his connection to kind of to animals. So pretty much things happen. I kind of forget a little bit of details why, but he winds up because he has a piece of this cube, because when he was a kid, he was saved by one of the Zoomen, which is anamorphic. So he saved his life and he gave him the piece in the first place. So like he winds up there's a giant cube in the middle of the park or forest or wherever this is, the forest, yeah. So he winds up getting sucked in to the other world, and like this happens really early, and he gets sucked into the Zooman's world, sorry. And it's kind of like they're all like looking at him funny and stuff, and he's like wondering what the hell they're like, who is this guy? It's not like the whole pitchforks and torches kind of first reaction. It's more of like that amazement and wonderment, a little bit of suspicion, but they're trying to communicate with him. He's like, what is this amazing place? What is this? And then later on, he's just so happy about it. It's like, oh, this is like a kid in a candy store. Like they have these animal human people and these weird cubes and this giant freaking forest. And apparently it doesn't really take them, weirdly enough, it doesn't take them too long to kind of get attached to him a little bit in a small way. Because he's like, oh, this is just his traveler went across. Who knows? He's human. Like I guess they've seen humans before. So yeah, they have, because basically I'll get into that later. But so yeah, so like white, yellow, and blue are kind of the more frivolous, if that's the right word. Like more fun and fancy free compared to Tusk, who's way more suspicious than they are. So like the three are like they're all kind of just taking him on like a tour after this. They like so he's going to the market. You see all these animal people, pandas and stuff like that. A quick side note on the animal people thing. Most of the costumes look fine. I don't have a big problem with them. It's more like what you're used to seeing with previous characters like Taurine or Doggy Kruger or those type of characters. So although White is adorable, like this girl, like her voice and even the mouth, because weirdly enough her mouth is one of the few mouths that actually move when she talks. The others not so much, but she looks adorable, both human and non-human states that she has. She's just adorable. But so yeah, they're going on safari and everything. Like he's showing them around. Eventually Tusk, who's riding an elephant, the strange irony in this, because it's an elephant riding an elephant, which he notices. He points it out because I guess they have animals in this world. Those horse people looked so bad. The horse guy, it really looks like something some guy would wear during a rape video or something. I'm sorry, I have a weird twisted sense of humor. It just doesn't look weird, But they're side characters. You won't be seeing them ever again. They're just background. I can't really expect them to put as much effort to the background. Although that panda person on the top corner looked really nice. But so yeah, so he's the one suspicious. I was like, how did you get this cube? Like, you just show up with it, and this is the piece we've been missing all this time, and that's the piece that's been missing that used to connect our world to yours, because the giant cube is in both worlds. So basically, they thought he was a thief, and everybody kind of turns on him real quick. It's like, oh, you're a thief, huh? You're looking. I guess to just prove he's not a thief, and just this impulsive moment of his, he just takes it, and he puts the small cube and the key into the giant cube. They're both cubes. But oh yeah, another thing. And side note is that the transformation pieces, a lot of cubes or everything. They have the cube theme for better or for worse, but for good parts, bad parts. But yeah, so he goes across, and of course during this time, alien villains of the series, they show up and they're celebrating their own personal anniversary. This is their 100th anniversary. This is the planet they picked for their 100th takeover or attack or whatever. And so, he sends his subordinate down, like, go wreak some havoc, go hurt some people, let's have some fun, blah blah blah. And so when they come back across, they're in the middle of that, and the whole, when he comes back across, and they get sucked into the four other anamorphic people, which is green, blue, white, and yellow. I'm not that great with names. Sorry, I should have paused beforehand. I'm not that great with names, so sometimes I'll designate things and not really always say a specific name, but give it the designation that's, so when I say it, you'll understand. But so they get sucked in, and everything's burning, and Red goes to save that kid that we saw from the beginning. I don't remember his name. He's just some sidekick. He doesn't even appear in episode 2. But yeah, so he saves him, so on and so forth, and the other four are like really upset at what these guys are doing because they're looking around, they're seeing people running and panic, and the forest is burning, and they're just hurting, and these people for sport and for fun. There's no real goal. They're just doing it because they feel like it, and it pisses them off, rightfully so. It pisses them off, and then they find the 4 pieces of the cube, because the cube, I think, shattered, so they can't go back. They can't go back through. So they grab the cubes and they change, and the transformation scene in this one really got me excited. And because the first transformation is supposed to be important. It's supposed to be a big deal, because this is the first time you see them change really, really for the first time. I didn't really get that feeling with the ninja. I didn't really get it that much with Koyuja because the Samba kind of ruined it for me. I hadn't gotten used to the Samba yet in that first episode, so I got used to it later. But what happened after that was good. But this one is like, they really roar into it, and you really feel that energy, and it just gave me goosebumps. The way they just kind of like that excitement, like their blood was on fire. It really got me excited, and it revved up, and I haven't really felt that in a little while, to be honest, from other shows. I will get to like them later, but the first episode wasn't really doing it as strongly as I'd like. This one did, and so they start fighting, and kind of similar to the way Power Ranger has the animal gloves, where it has the talons on it and everything. It's similar but a little bit different. The little twist is that they start with normal human hands for the gloves, but when they start manifesting their their animal abilities, you'll start seeing the alterations. Like they'll have the claw hands for the 2 tigers, and the blue she's a shark. I didn't go over that. Oh yeah, so Tusk green is a elephant, white is a tiger, yellow is a lion, and blue is a shark. So yeah, so when she does her thing, she has a shark fin, and green does his thing. He changes his regular feet to like elephant shoes, elephant feet, and they're manifesting their powers, which looks good on screen. Look, it looks really fun. It looks really good, and they're just the excitement from the fight is really good. Eventually, Red shows up, Yamato normal, and he's trying frivolously to get the alien to stop, and it starts attacking him and stuff and beating him up, and which also reminds me of Gal Red. It's the same thing. He kind of like he tried to I think, reason with the monster, and it hits him in the face and he starts with his chainmail thing and with barbed wire, and he's just bleeding in his mouth. This is similar to that, not as dark as that went, but somewhere in that ballpark. And then he his cube starts activating. He changes into red, which I think is his eagle. And the other taken aback by this, like they're so surprised because supposedly no humans ever done that for them before. Because apparently using these cubes, it's not, it's something they already knew. Because they grab it when they change, they knew right away how to use it, like just like that. No, like no learning it. No, what is this? What is that? Like bam, they just grabbed it and changed right away. So I guess this is like the cubes, using the cubes in that matter is something that they already know about in their culture, and it's something I guess others have done already before. So, but they've never seen a human do it. That was the part that took them aback. And Red, like a quick highlight: the weapon that Red has, the sword that he has, is like a chain. It's a chain sword. If you've ever played Soul Calibur, if you've ever seen the character of Ivy, but it looks so cool in this. It looks so cool in this show. Like the way they animate, the way it looks, the way he uses it in his finisher. Just, I think this may be one of my favorite Sentai Red weapons since Shiken Red and the giant sword that he had. That weapon was badass, and reminds me of Siegfried from Soul Calibur. A lot of character I like using. But yeah, so this fight just grade A, man. Really got me excited. Really got me pumped up. Really just great work all around. Everything looked so nice, and the excitement level was there. Okay, so they beat the monster, of course, standard fare. Now we get to see what trick or gimmick they're going to use to get them big in this show. And the gimmick is, for this one, is that the main villain, he takes a piece of his cells and he solidifies it to a coin, and he gives it to like the female of their group, who's also black and green, kind of a bit of a callback to one of the characters and Gokaiger, but it's a mild thing. But pretty much, so she takes the coin, she appears, and then she puts the coin in his shoulder, which looks like a little coin socket. So they have a little bit of this video gamey kind of theme with them. The word game, I guess, specifically. And so yeah, it goes to his shoulder, and he literally says, "Go give him a continue." It's just kind of, it says the word continue. I think that at least that's how Overtime translates it. I don't think I've seen. At least I don't think I've seen the way TV now. I think they say continue in English, so there's no other way to interpret it. But yeah, so he grows big. This is the only part of the episode that the only negative I could say, really. The individual mecha designs, because okay, for better or for worse, they're really into this cube thing, like the cube stuff, because the transformation items are cubes. The cube opens up to like a phone inside, and then that's when they change. But they spin the cube first. Like, I think they press it, then they spin the cube, and then they change. So it's actually a Rubik's cube, which I've never seen them use a cube before. So that's actually quite new. But that means also the mega designs kind of have this cube-ish look. And the best way I can describe it is pretty much the old school gaming, like Atari-like look. More specifically, for you kids, Minecraft. That's the best way I can describe it. If you put Super Sentai Mecha in Minecraft, they would look like that. I don't like Minecraft at all. I don't like that look. I know older gaming graphics or whatever. I never played Atari. Never liked Atari. Never touched it. So it doesn't have. It does. I don't. It doesn't really appeal to me much. So I didn't really like those kind of designs, and they just don't. They don't look that. Looks kind of weird. Red is okay, I guess. Oh, there's some like little cool things they do with the visuals that looks really nice when they turn back into solid cubes and they spin around. It looks good. Like those parts look good. Like for a brief minute, it almost looked real to me, because I think there's a mixture of like practical and CG. It's that weird middle ground, which I always love. I love when practical misses with CG, because it really gives you that suspicion of disbelief for that brief minute. It just looks like, oh, that looks kind of real. So it looked kind of real to me for a minute. So not overall, not so big fan of the individual machines. The main machine, when they link up, the system they kind of use, like they have these cube fire rings. So whoever gets to it first, they'll start the transformation, because red goes in the middle, and I think this time around it was white in the other one. white and blue. I don't remember, but he's on first come first. The other two were kind of left in the side, and they went through and they formed up, and they pretty much formed the main mecha from the intro. I don't have a problem with the machine once it's big. Once they form up, I don't. It doesn't bother me as much. The cube kind of designs because it still has a form or a body. It doesn't look, because it's a human suit, so they can't really make it look uber ridiculous. So yeah, I don't have a big problem with it. It's not the best mecha design I've ever seen. Uh, Gokaiger's main machine was better looking. Jetman's, I really liked that one better, but it doesn't. It's not bad. It's not like I don't even remember the name of that series, but another series that I didn't like that had a weird looked like play school eyes. Go Onger, there we go. Hated that mecha design. Hated it when it formed up. Hated it when it's individual. Didn't like anything about it. But anyway, so yeah, so they go to. So yes, overall, they do what I expect. Win, beat the thing. Pretty simple, pretty good. Transformation is kind of interesting because the sword is the head somehow. Like the body of the sword is the head, and they take it out. It's a little weird, but not bad. Overall, a quick summary, mild summary. Really good, pretty strong first episode. It really hit like it gave you enough about the story to know what these two worlds are, what kind of powers they're using. Enough questions that, you can ask later on. Also, yeah, I didn't highlight. Oh yeah, so when they're in the cockpits before I finish it, when they're in the cockpits, they're in a chair and they have like this little cube light around them. It's like they're in a smaller cube that's kind of bent on its tip. And I don't know if the lighting. I think the lighting is done practically. Yeah, I think it's like a practical lighting, which kind of looked kind of nice. And there's a cube also indented on its tip, on its corner tip, and they spin it around before they do the moves, and that's how they pilot it. A little weird, because they never really get it. They always kind of like for the inner cockpits when it comes to Super Sentai, you never figure like how does that piloting system even work? I have no clue. It's kind of like my mind just defaults to telepathic that they think of an idea, they spin the cube, and then the machine does what they're thinking. That's the best way I can kind of describe it, and that's kind of like the default theory I'm going to go to every time I can't figure out how the blue held could this possibly be piloted, and it looks weird. Ninja had like the cranks and tips and all that stuff, and the main person was really piloting, and the others were helping somehow, even though the sword was kind of hinged on the back panel, and looked like they were pulling it like a cart. It's weird, but this one, that's the best way I think I can understand it. They think of something, and the cube does it, and I guess they remotely control the individual parts. But yeah, so anyways, to go back to the summary, pretty strong first episode. Got me really excited, which is always great. It's what you're looking for in a first episode of any series, to really get you excited for what you're seeing in front of you and what's coming next. And they did everything. They did the ground combat, they did the mecha, they explained to you what the two worlds are a little bit. I mean, the ones who got the least bit of coverage were the villains. But since they're kind of formulaic villains, they're space aliens. They come to destroy the world. There's not really a lot to explore there. We've been down this path so many times, and their motivations are kind of whatever. But they do explain it a little bit more what their general goal seems to be. They're not the gathering fear type. I'll tell you that. They don't gather fear to get power. They just do it because they like it. And pretty much, so they're a little bit more simple. They got the least bit of coverage in the episode, but they serve their purpose, and we'll get more. They'll get more into them as time goes on. But for the main things that mattered, the Rangers themselves, the characters, I really just kind of liked it. Everyone, I really like Tusk is the suspicious one. He's kind of but they start as a team. They kind of come together. Tusk is the one at the end where he's like, I don't trust you still. Why would I work with you? I don't trust you. I think he tries to take the cube away, and the other three are kind of surprised by it. It's like, he's our friend. He's like, we just met him. Why should we trust him? So he's the suspicious one. The second episode, they'll kind of connect a little bit more, but I think he takes the cube away and he goes away, and he's on his own to try to find a way back home. I think Tusk, he has more of a personal connection to the cube itself. I think they show some scenes in this one and the other episode of him and his father. They seem to have some sort of I think they worship it. That could probably explain why when they meet Yamato / Red for the first time, they're always pestering him. They're like, you talk to him. I think he's supposed to be the shaman. He's supposed to know this crap. So it's this is the cube. This is your business. Go. It's kind of funny. But yeah, strong first episode. Definitely worth checking out if you're a Sentai fan, and even if you're crossing over from kind of the Power Ranger side of things. Well, if you're crossing over, thinking about crossing over, this isn't a bad place to start. Each show kind of has their own self-contained narrative, but they do have crossover episodes with the previous show. So those are individual movies. They could be ignored, I suppose. But there's always been fun to watch. But the other thing that got me excited about this show is the premise is Ninja in his previous, the previous Ninja show, they brought back a lot of like ninja-themed characters. Even one surprise cameo that I didn't see coming with the whole Maji Yellow thing, because Blue was both. He was a ninja and he was a sorcerer. So anyway, so it pretty much, I'm kind of excited because Sentai has so many animal themed teams, and most of which, a decent amount of which I've seen already. So they have a lot of animal themed teams, and the more specific cameos I would like to see, and I'm hoping I get to see it. Was I'm excited about is, of course, obviously Gal Ranger would be the most. That might be left for a movie though. That seems like something. I don't know if they're going to be able to get the whole team, but if they get at least a portion of that, or at least Red or somebody, that would be pretty cool. Maybe a Gal Ranger 10 years later movie. Why not? They did a Hurricane Ranger one, and they did the Deca Ranger one. Well, I wouldn't mind seeing a Gal Ranger 10 years later, but so that gets me excited. Also, teams like Live Man from the 80s. I really liked the Live Man. Saw it. It was a pretty good show. Really liked it. So that those two Pacific shows, that they're animal themed. Die Ranger is kind of animal themed, but I think it was more mystical, like dragons. Yeah, they wouldn't fit. But yeah, like Gal Ranger, Live Man. Hopefully not Go Onker. Please, for God's sakes, no. But they're probably gonna do it, and I'm gonna have to sit through it. I don't really like that team much. It was that series. I couldn't get into it because it was overly childish just for sake of being childish, up to the point where it was really forcing it down your throat, the childishness of it. I mean, Go On Wings are kind of the thing that balanced it because they were more serious, but that's a different show entirely. But yeah, so yeah, really looking forward to any cameos because the Ninja had them. They came out of nowhere, and it was one of the things I really liked about that show. And hopefully, anniversary show. So they've got to do some sort of crossover gimmick. This is the 40th anniversary, and the animal themed Sentai has such a long, rich history of so many teams. This is like Jetman, even though they're only one, they're all bird oriented, but that's the type of animal because Red is is an eagle, so it's like, oh, perfect. Anything that gets them back is fine. I really liked the guys' return episode, which is eventually what really made me really want to hunt for Jetman and watch it. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. Really great first episode. Definitely worth checking out. I'm going to, hopefully, if I put this online, I'll talk about the other episode and maybe do a Tokusatsu in review of Jetman, because I really like that show, and there's a good amount of people who haven't watched it, even people that are into Sentai that haven't watched it, that really need to check it out, and it does have a fan sub. So anyway, I'll see you guys around. Zyuogher, Shaw on Facebook, and yeah, that's it. My first review of a Toku-based series, more specifically a Sentai. So hopefully perhaps sign up things to come. And okay, see you.